Techno-mutualism, a manifesto for artist engineers. What is techno-mutualism? Technological mutualism is an abstract and ideal, an awareness formed of the highest ideal. That is the concept of community, a shared vision towards a better, more mutual and cooperative society, one that values both humans' most innate creative desires, as well as our desires for improving nature's base material, an alchemical process, a forging of a new world from the dust and mire of the present. A new view and perception of resource and consumption that forces us to face the issues that our industrial societies have created. Sharing and cultivating creativity in the human will, so that all mankind may reach the heights of their potential. So a few paragraphs of some poetic language and vision, but what are the details? For it is in detail that the devil always lies. So if you're willing, let us explore the big questions of our age, the big monolith in the distance, blinding us from the potential of the light. Life is not breath, but action. Rousseau. The mechanization of the metaphor machine and the soul, a parable of man divided. Man, it seems, is split in two. On one side lie the worlds and words of science and logic, unveiling more and more of nature's secrets, allowing us to take more control of our own destinies and stories, guiding our collective stories in the direction of more paradigm shifts. The Enlightenment or Renaissance ensured that we could delve further into our mysterious cosmos, ensuring that we as a world have got to the point of a driving and powerful technological process, not without bumps in the road, but with an overall positive impact. However, every revolution has its victims and its injuries along the way, it seems. And to me, this technological process has come at a price. The price is the soul, and our ability to appreciate, meditate, and indeed reflect on the deepest realms. Those silent parts of our minds and selves which reverberate and whisper to us softly on dark and silent nights, alone or with friends, with lovers or comrades of all stripes and shades. That part of ourselves, it seems, has become more closed, and to access it takes often an immense effort due to the multiple distractions and daydreams we can now access at the click of the button. There must be a balance found, I think, between our animalistic inner selves and our need to externalise and categorise nature. Because I think we should be aware that the more we seek to stifle nature into more and more boxes, the more we trick ourselves into the misunderstanding that we are somehow separate from it. This is the pantheism of the new understanding. Being that most of us know that God is dead, or the idea of the immaterial metaphysical perfection is at best an idealistic daydream, and at worst a justification for the worst excesses of human evils, how then must we balance our evolving technological power with what resides within? Namely our complex and shifting selves, our souls, as I might call it, the swirls of the ocean of consciousness that we call the unconscious and conscious mind. Returning to my initial thought on the split in man, we are split between our natures as a cog in the dynamic modern industrial global machine and our direct connection to our past, a hunter-gatherer and early Homo sapien legacy. How then must we guide this archaic revival of sorts to make the best of the old ways and mix some of the most dazzling aspects of the future soul we see in the distance, roaring like some nucleic sun? And do we want that? Or does this read indeed like some grandiose descent into the parable of man? Is the alternative to envision or accept that we are damned? To fall to such belief is to kill the human will. And to kill the human will is to kill what makes us man, woman, or more to the point, human. The wise. Homo sapien means wise man. Now what is it that has made us wise? Rising from the depths and exploring and innovating alongside nature. This must be the path, I suspect. Consuming nature like some hungry beast will only bring our collective house of cards and corruptions further to ruin, and that ruin lies the ruin of us all. At some point we have to start working together, and this is the nature of political struggle. And that's why democracy and the ability to protest, struggle and constantly seek to improve is a very definition of human and Homo sapien nature. And from this is born wisdom. I am here, I am alone. When I become more than myself by connecting all these dots with my brothers and sisters, we can achieve that which the mystics might have dreamt of in some far-flung land long ago. The split is between that which is seen as rational and that which is seen as irrational or emotional, and to resolve it, use both engineering artistically and artistically engineering. The green tech, the great works of art which will hoist a world of future into dream spires, our organic machinery which will weave like engineered poets to forge a world that just works better. The building of a new system, an evolution of the old ecologies of replacement and displacement into a new and flatter, more mutual, beneficial society. The society of artist engineers. Technological mutualism. Technological mutualism. What we create for the hub of humanity. Technological progress and the development of computers in the latter and mid-20th century has given rise to a new information society powered by the networks. The lattice of information weaves and connects us all together in a way previous societies and civilizations have never experienced before. But to avoid being a technological utopian, it is useful to look at some of the negatives of this increasing connectivity too. As with most developments, there are always gremlins in the system, which grinds the gears, so to speak. The gremlin in the development of networking computer systems, and especially internet, is that as beautiful as a decentralized network is, the tendency of power is to centralize. This is happening increasingly with the internet and our communication networks, which once used as a method to free us via information, communication and knowledge sharing, increasingly are being led in the direction of a series of tool governments and powerful institutions which are trying to develop along further routes of manipulation and coercion, with the powerful being able to manipulate and stream. The internet is a double-edged sword, and I think it must probably remain this way. The alternative will only spell a sure edging towards totalitarianism, if handled badly, and the state in the modern way will only once again become a blunt instrument against man and womankind. So that's that piece of writing. I'm going to improv now and critique myself and also talk more about this piece of writing. So it's quite idealistic, I think, even though it takes on a tone of trying to define some sort of reasoned future society. I don't go into enough depth on that particular issue, I don't think. I think I talk a lot about problems which are existing in society. I kind of vaguely hint at what I think the answer might be, but I don't really go into much depth on that. I don't go into economics, I don't go into how to implement, educational things so that people could educate themselves more to get to the point of being a quote-unquote artist engineer. So in that sense, I like the piece of writing, some parts of it anyway. I need to rewrite some of it even, but it needs more definition, I think. But I thought I'd share that anyway. I'm mostly posting this up for other artists in the tunnel group so that I can share this with them. I think I've done a kind of version of this before, but I want to redo it and re-record it clearer, more because we're kind of considering the environment a lot more in our with a lot of our previous exhibitions of ideas are focused on the critique of consumer capitalism, and I think we will refocus on the environment shortly. So this is kind of the piece of writing I think which was most focused in that regard that I've done in the last few years, which was most focused on environment, creating a new society, what's wrong with this society. I mean, this doesn't go too much into specific environment and green issues, it's more talking about metaphysics almost in a way, and a struggle for meaning in the modern age, how technology hasn't necessarily saved us. So I think if anything, actually the main problem with this piece of writing is that it's kind of contradictory, because it identifies a problem which has been created in a way by our own technology, but then its solution for that is more technology or more. So I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna have to reconsider it. Technological mutualism. It obviously it seems like it's informed by socialistic thinking as well. Socialism, since it sounds like it would be about resource sharing and knowledge sharing, I suppose. But I mean, at its core, it's actually not even necessarily about the economics of socialism or whatever political theory of that. It's more about sharing, being able to create networks of sharing knowledge, sharing even more software so that people can access that faster. I think in the future a lot of people will have to become software engineers at some level, not necessarily advanced software engineers, but that's where the economy of the future is going. It feels like we're accelerating towards a point where AI is just going to sneak up on us, and yeah, that's going to be interesting, to be honest, when that happens, because I don't know if we're ready for it yet fully, to be honest. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I've got Shortecker playing in the background in case you want some wondering what's playing into a mix I did. I'll link to it in the video. I thought that would suit because it's kind of suitably jittery and machine-like and electronic. Yeah, well, it was Technological Mutualism, a manifesto for artist engineers by me.